Buying a house in the UK in 2024 is a lot more easier than you think. Obviously, I'm not gonna lie, the first thing you need to have is money. I'm not going to jump into that, how you save your money, save 10 grand and then buy a house, take 20 grand pound. No. This video, I'm going to talk about some of the schemes in the UK that will help you to get a house. I also will show some of my experience so far working in the UK as a migrant. I get into this country 15 years ago with £1,000 and then now I own a £400,000 house. It's all possible. There's no parents, there's no help, it's just hard work. This video is not about how to save money to buy a down payment, rather than some of the tips and tricks that you may or may not know, and hopefully this video helps you. So, first part of the video is the government scheme. First part of it is you may have no help to buy and then rent to own, and then last is lease. I think help to buy is always a good thing to have or good thing to use because the government helps you, although they will charge the bit that helped you in the high interest rate in there. But it is still a good scheme to use because you will buy a brand new house, and we'll talk about the quality of brand new house in a minute. It still gets you to the ladder, right? It still get you up the ladders. Again, I know what you're talking about, thinking about. We'll talk about the money in a minute. But help to buy is probably one of the good schemes to use if you don't have a choice, obviously. Rent to own, even brand new one, is that you can have a contract with landlord, I believe, so that you will enter a contract with landlord, you will rent it. By the end of that contract, then you guys, both of you, enter the agreement, buy the house. I think using the part of the rent that you've been paying so far, which I'll put a link down there, which you can have a look on that. Then lastly is Lisa. Lisa is a bit of things that about 6 to 8 years now, I think, where every £1,000 you put in, the government will give you 25% more, which you can use that to buy your first house, right? Now we talk about the money. Obviously, help to buy houses is highly inflated. All of that comes because the government is helping you, then obviously the developer is going to bump up the price because the government going to, there's the money coming in from the government. And this is kind of self-explanatory here. It's not always that case. There are areas that you can choose to buy a house and all that. But ultimately, in this section of videos, is that 3 schemes you can use: help to buy, rent to own, and the lease, which I think is pretty decent. The next bit is cheaper areas in commuter towns. And my colleagues grown up in London and his family is all around London. Obviously, I use London as an example because everyone knows the houses in London is extremely expensive to a point you can't even afford it in a normal 9-to-5 job, let alone anything else, right? This is where the cost of the commuting and the cost of opportunity, I would say, comes into play. I used to think that I would like to stay in London as well, same with anyone people, but after that I realized that there are outside of London city that can get into London half an hour train, 25 minutes train, anything like that. Then why don't we just live there? And that's what I've been doing for the past 10 years. The first destination I lived in is High Wycombe, which is about 25 minutes from London Marylebone. It's a breeze for me. I lived there for about 5-6 years where I saved tons of money because I didn't insist of living in London. And the amount of money I save, I put in the deposit to buy my current house, which is in Milton Keynes, where it's also half an hour to Euston Station. Saying this point now here, yeah, you probably think of just moving away from the place you're currently in because you can't afford the house, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you move away from the UK. There are definitely places that you haven't discovered fit into your budget, allowing you to buy a house and allowing you to travel into your work, and highly depends on you as well how you want to use the half an hour travel to do your work, listen to podcasts, learn new skills. That's down to you. That's one of the down the way, right? The next one is the mortgage advice and assistance. This video is not really suitable for me to deep dive in rates and what's tips and tricks that we can save money your mortgage, but the bit here is that do not pay. If you would like to buy a house and you would like a financial assistance or advisor to help you straight away, then the first thing you would have to do is make sure how much you earn at the moment, and then whatever houses prices you want to buy is 5 times above. I think it's 4.5 now, but it's 5 times above you. When you're knowing the price of that and the time to salary, the next thing you do is you go to the bank and get a principal of mortgage, where the bank will say that, okay, you have this money and then you can actually borrow this money, though it's not officially. But having that principal of mortgage will allow the financial advisors and the property agent to help you a lot more easier. Finding the right house, they know that you're serious in buying the house, they keep you in a contact list that any suitable house pop-ups, they ring you. When I'm getting my first house, it's because I do not have that. Financial advisors or principal, whatever, it's just do not want to talk to me because it sounds like I'm just wasting their time, testing the market, isn't a serious buyer. But once I understand that rules and process, I get to it anyway. And I also do not pay for financial mortgage or financial advisors, especially for house mortgage. And my friends pays for that, but I do not. And some of them chose to pay it because it sounds like it covers services that will guide you from step for steps. But to be fair, in the world of the internet, majority of the information is public anyway. So I would say save that 500 quid and go for the freeze one. And then most important is that you need to know that how much you can afford to buy the house. So lastly, I think there are consensus of people saying that house market will crash. When it crash, everyone will suffer it. You know what I'm trying to say here is that even 2 years ago when the inflation skyrockets, people have been saying the property will slump. It did slump, but it slumped probably 5%, 10%. It didn't slump like 40% back in 2008. I don't think it will happen anymore. I do not think so. I would think it will stagnate a little while and it will go up again and again. Then you have a right question to ask your mind is that, so how are people going to afford houses in the future? That's a great question to have. I used to have that as well. In the end, I still managed to get a house. So what I'm trying to say in the end, it might seem like not helpful in the end. Following what I just mentioned just now, especially the commuter areas, cost opportunities, that main area is the most important stuff, is that move to a different area, stay there, try it. Probably one way that you get out of it. At the end of the day, the point I'm trying to make here is that do not wait or time. The time the market is the same thing as stock market. The right time to do it. Also, do not do what I'm doing at the moment. I bought an oversized house, which is 4 beds, and only me and my wife staying in it. There's no point staying in such a large house. And the conclusion of that is that if I have a choice to choose again, I will buy a smaller house, or probably I'll buy a HMO house straight away so I can rent it out and I will get a little bit of money and then return and then reset it and then do it again. So that I probably can retire early in that stage. But at the moment, I didn't go through that path. I went through a traditional path, which I get a big house, big old house that I need to spend a lot of money to renovate, which there will be a video coming out which I spent £250,000 in the UK to renovate a 4-bedroom house. That's the end of my videos. Hopefully this video helps a little bit. It's a bit crappy, it's not really packed with a lot of informations, with B-rolls and things like that, but these are mostly my opinions and my feedbacks of how this works so far, and it works for me. It definitely works for you, especially, you know, for migrants like myself. It just worked out for me. So yeah, if you like my videos, give me a like, subscribe to my videos. If you would like to know more about, you know, houses in the UK, how to buy it, your first timers, save monies, leave your comments down below. I'll be happy to reply to you, and I'll definitely make a video to match your questions, and then hopefully that videos will, you know, help you in the long run as well. So that's it, my video. Peace.